Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Sri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Vidyamati, whenever you're ready, you can start, Mati. I'll share my screen.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamuriraye Nasta Praeshu Abhareshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naisteki. Today we are reading from Canto 6, Chapter 3. Yamaraj instructs his messengers, text 25 through 35. Text 25. Because they are bewildered by the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yajnavalkya and Jaimini and other compilers of the religious scriptures cannot know the secret, confidential religious system of the 12 Mahajanas. They cannot understand the transcendental value of performing devotional service or chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Because their minds are attracted to the ritualistic ceremonies mentioned in the Vedas, especially the Yajurveda, Samveda, and Rig Veda, their intelligence has become dull. Thus, they are busy collecting the ingredients for ritualistic ceremonies that yield only temporary benefits, such as elevation to Swargaloka for material happiness. They are not attracted to the Sankirtan movement. Instead, they are interested in Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. Text 26. Considering all these points, therefore, intelligent men decide to solve all problems by adopting the devotional service of chanting the holy name of the Lord, who is situated in everyone's heart and who is a mind of all auspicious qualities. Such persons are not within my jurisdiction for punishment. Generally, they never commit sinful activities, but even if they commit, or because of bewilderment or illusion, they sometimes commit sinful acts. They are protected from sinful reactions because they always chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Text 27. My dear servant, please do not approach such devotees, for they have fully surrendered to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are equal to everyone, and their narrations are sung by the demigods and the inhabitants of Siddhaloka. Please do not even go near them. They are always protected by the club of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore Lord Brahma and I, and even the time factor, are not competent to chastise them. Text 28. Paramahamsas are exalted persons who have no taste for material enjoyment and who drink the honey of the Lord's lotus feet. My dear servants, bring to me for punishment only persons who are averse to the taste of the honey, who do not associate with Paramahamsas, and who are attached to family life and worldly enjoyment, which form the path to hell. Text 29. My dear servants, please bring to me only those sinful persons who do not use their tongue to chant the holy name and qualities of Krishna, whose hearts do not remember the lotus feet of Krishna even once, and whose heads do not bow down even once before Lord Krishna. Send me those who do not perform their duties towards Vishnu, which are the only duties in human life. Please bring me all such fools and rascals. Text 30. Then Yamaraj, considering himself and his servants to be offenders, spoke as follows, begging pardon from the Lord. O my Lord, my servants have surely committed a great offense by arresting a Vaishnava such as Ajamil. O Narayana, O Supreme, the oldest person, please forgive us. Because of our ignorance, we fail to recognize Ajamil as a servant of your lordship, and thus we have certainly committed a great offense. Therefore, with folded hands, we beg your pardon. My Lord, since you are supremely merciful and are always full of good qualities, please pardon us. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Text 31. Sukadev Goswami continued, My dear king, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is able to uproot even the reactions of the greatest sins. Therefore, the chanting of the Sankirtan movement is the most auspicious activity in the entire universe. Please try to understand this so that others will take it seriously. Text 32. One who constantly hears and chants the holy name of the Lord and hears and chants about his activities can very easily attain the platform of pure devotional service, which can cleanse the dirt from one's heart. One cannot achieve such purification merely by observing vows and performing Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. Text 33. Devotees who always lick the honey from the lotus feet of Lord Krishna do not care at all for material activities, which are performed under the three modes of material nature and which bring only misery. Indeed, devotees never give up the lotus feet of Krishna to return to material activities. Others, however, who are addicted to Vedic rituals because they have neglected the service of the Lord's lotus feet and are enchanted by lusty desires, sometimes perform acts of atonement. Nevertheless, being incompletely purified, they return to sinful activities again and again. Text 34. After hearing from the mouth of their master about the extraordinary glories of the Lord and his name, fame, and attributes, the Yamudutas were struck with wonder. Since then, as soon as they see a devotee, they fear him and dare not look at him again. Text 35. When the great sage Agastya, the son of Kumbha, was residing in the Malaya hills and worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I approached him and he explained to me this confidential history. Thus ends Bhaktivedanta purport of Canto 6, Chapter 3. Yamaraj instructs his messengers. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vidyamati. Hare Krishna. Yeah, whenever you're ready, you can start, Gopijana Primati.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you, Vidya Mataji, for reading the translations today. It's a very, very wonderful section, as we have been hearing Ajamila pastime for the past few weeks, and especially hearing the glories of holy name. So we're continuing the discussion, and we have seen how Ajamila has been relieved by Vishnu Dutas from the ropes of Yamadutas. And in that second chapter, we also heard Vishnu Dutas themselves, they glorified holy name of the Lord, how it is highest, and take the shelter of holy name, right? And Sukhdev Goswami also concluded that section by describing the glories of chanting the holy names of Lord. And here in this chapter, Yamadutas were, very bewildered. They went to Yamaloka, to his master Yamaraj, and they reported what happened, the entire incident. And also they challenged several questions, right? Because they asked that, how many controllers are there? Looks like there are multiple controllers. We thought there is only one supreme controller, and that is you. And everybody is under your jurisdiction. But looks like even though there are multiple controllers, there should be some arrangement there to agree to one dharma, right? And we have seen that there is disagreement between the controllers also, and your orders are transgressed by Vishnu Dutas. So you explain us who is the supreme controller and why they have obstructed our duties. It is a really challenging way. And Yamaraj, he did not get any offense for the behavior of his servants. Rather, he is very pleased that Yamadutas have chanted the holy name of Lord Narayana while describing this incident. And also, he meditated on the lotus feet of the Lord. He did not take offense for the servants' challenging questions, nor he did not get offended that why Vishnu Dutas have obstructed my duty without any communication. But rather he exhibited his Vaishnava behavior, and he acknowledged that he presented Bhagavata Dharma. He explained how Bhagavata Dharma is the highest, and also explained the glories of Supreme Lord, Supreme Controller, and his devotees. So that's where the section we started in this chapter. And also he glorified the process of chanting. For those who are ultimate religious principle is the devotional service, and especially chanting the holy name of the Lord. He said that. And also he explained that real religious principle is enacted by the Lord. That is Dharmam tu Sakshat Bhagavad Pranitam. And it's very difficult to understand Lord, and also it is very difficult to understand, to ascertain these religious principles, even by great sages, Lord Brahma, Lord Indra, and he included himself also. And then he said that, then one may ask, then if for great sages and great personalities, they cannot ascertain the religious principles, how can I understand, right? So Supreme Lord is very merciful that he has given 12 Mahajans who can understand and who can follow and present to the entire humanity these highest religious principles. These are confidential and transcendental, Guhyam and Visuddham. And who are those 12 Mahajanas? Yamaraj says that Swayambhu, Narada, Sthambhu, Kumara, Kapila, Manu, Prahlada, Janaka, Bhishma, Bali, and himself. Those are all 12 Mahajanas who knows these transcendental subjects and who are authorized to present it. That is from the last session we have heard from devotees. And also further he glorified the process of chanting. This the ultimate religious principle, that is Bhagavata Dharma, is to chant the glories of Supreme Lord. And also he's saying that don't get bewildered that even though Ajamil has chanted Narayana at the time of the death, addressing his son, but because of the potency of holy name, and he was saved from sinful reactions as well as hellish conditions, right? So further, today's verse says, okay, then it is the pure devotional service is the highest. Then why the lens scholars, very academically, grammatically, and even the religious principles compilers themselves, they don't follow Bhagavata Dharma. At the same time, they don't teach us, right? So why there are so many other paths that are given in Vedas. So this 25th verse answers this question. Why? Why? Because their intelligence, they're not even though they are so-called lens scholars, but their intelligence is dulled by the fruity Madhu Pushpitayam, by the flowery language of Vedas that prescribes different Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. And their intelligence is bewildered by the illusory energy of Maya. Why is that so? Because the minds are attached to these Vedic ritualistic ceremonies in order to elevate to the heavenly planets, and they don't much get attracted to the Bhagavata Dharma, that is highest devotional service. So this translation is very helpful to me. Why, even though there are so many other great persons and scholars, why they will not take it up, bhakti path, the highest path, right? So here Prabhupada writes in the translation that they will not understand Supreme Lord, the highest transcendental religious scriptures. And only 12 Mahajans, they know the secret and confidential religious system, right? And because of those tendencies, the attractions they have for the elevation to the heavenly planets, they'll not get attracted to the Sankirtan movement. Instead, they're interested in Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. And we see that Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Yam ima pushpitam vacham pravadanti avipaschita Vedavada rata partha nanyad asiti vadinaha. And they will be just going up and down in the same universe, Rather, they will not show interest to perfect their life and go back to Godhead. The purport, Prabhupada writes that highest success is achieved by chanting the holy name of the Lord. But one may ask why there are so many Vedic ritualistic ceremonies and why people are attracted to them, right? So it is because of their attachment to the ceremonies. So their intelligence is bewildered by Maya. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Vedaischa sarver ahameva vedyo. The real purpose of studying the Vedas is to approach the lotus feet of Krishna. But unfortunately, intelligent people, they get bewildered, they get very attracted, seeing grandeur, opulent of gorgeous sacrifices that are performed, and they want to see the Vedic mantras chanted and big amount of money spent in the ceremonies. Because if that is all there, then they think that it is something very highest is happening. They should not understand the Vedic mantras, what is recited by pujaris. If they understand, then they think that, oh, it is very simple. They don't understand, oh, it's a long Vedic chanting, happening. So it is really good. That is an unintelligent people think like that. And also Prabhupada is he's writing his own experience with the Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan. So Prabhupada knows that Sankirtan movement, Sankirtan that is itself is sufficient in inaugurate the temple also. But in order to attract the other group of people, Smartha Brahmanas, and Prabhupada, accepted doing these Vedic ceremonies also. But in parallelly, the highest thing, the Sankirtana was happening loudly with mridangas. So even though Vedic ritualistic ceremonies are happening, just in order to please the all kind of people, the ceremonies also sometimes performed, but with the focus with Sankirtan movement, Sankirtan Yajna. And further, 26th verse. Here on the contrast to the unintelligent people who attract to the Vedic ceremonies, here intelligent men, what they do, it is described here. So they adopt the devotional service of chanting the holy names of the Lord, and those people are not within the jurisdiction for punishment. So who follow devotional service, they will not come under my jurisdiction. These are Emra statements. And generally, why it is given here? Generally, they don't, they never commit sinful activities, but even momentarily or accidentally or because of their, previous tendencies, even though one may commit sinful act, they're protected from sinful reactions because their mind is fixed in chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The same thing that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that Apiche Sudharacharo Bhajite Imam Ananya Bhag Sadhurevasa Mantavyaha Samyak Vyavastito Hisa. So even though my devotees, they're very pure, but even though if they do momentarily some kind of abominable activities, because they always worship me without any second thought, so I'll always protect them. They're situated in the right position. So here Emaraj is also saying the same thing. Even though they do some kind of sinful activities, accidentally they are protected from the reactions. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes that in the verse, Emaraj says that Evam Vimrishya Sudhiyo Bhagavati. Because they engage in the loving service of the Lord, they become Sudhiya. They become intelligent. So it can be understood in twofold. One is that for those who are intelligent, they engage in the loving service of the Lord. That is one meaning. And another meaning is for those who engage in the loving service of the Lord, they become intelligent people. And that is the real intelligence. And for pure devotee, one intelligence is clear. They are truly thoughtful. Because The only reason is he engaged in the service of the Lord. Everything is made possible. And even in Bhagavatam also, Lord Brahma, who is the most intelligent person, he says that the verse is also quoted here, Bhagavatam 10:14-29. The purport is that the meaning is that even though one is very learned scholar of the Vedic Shastras, he may be completely unaware of Supreme Personality of Godhead, name, fame, qualities, and so on. Whereas one is not a great scholar, but he can understand the position of Supreme Lord, and he can become a pure devotee of Lord by engaging in devotional service. So that's very beautiful. And another intelligence is, we know that, so from same Bhagavatam, Yagne Sankirtana Praye Yajantihi Sumedasaha. So for those who worship, who chant, who does congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord, they are Sumedasaha. They're very intelligent. Very nice verse. And 27, here Emaraj continuing that, do not approach whom they should not approach. They must not approach henceforward, right? So he's saying that do not approach devotees for those who have completely surrendered unto Supreme Lord, Bhagavat Prapanna. And what are their qualities? They are Samadrusha. They have equal vision. Sadhavaha. They have devotee qualities, right? And what happens? Ta no na upasidata. You na upasidata. Do not approach them. Harer gada Harer gadaya abhi guptan. And Hari, Lord Hari, Gada, Kaumodiki Gada is always protecting those devotees. Do not approach them. And Naisham Vayam na Vayaha Prabhavama Dande. They're not under my jurisdiction, they're not under anyone's jurisdiction. Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, even time factor. So, because they are always under protection of Hari. Hari Gada is always protecting those devotees. And what is the glory of the devotees? Te Deva Siddha Parigita Pavitra Gada. Their glories are narrated by all great personalities, Siddhas, Devas, the narration, the devotees narrate the glories of Supreme Lord, and the devotees' glories are also narrated by great personalities, Deva, Siddha, Parigita, Pavitra, Gada. And Yamaraj is giving a warning to Yamadutas that na upasidita, do not approach those devotees. Harigada is always protecting the devotees. Okay, and in the purport, Prabhupada writes that, so the actions of devotees who have surrendered unto lotus feet of Lord and who constantly chant the holy name of the Lord are praised by the demigods and the residents of Siddhaloka. Those devotees' position is very exalted and respectable because Lord Vishnu personally protects them with the club in his hand. And he gave a warning henceforward, you should not approach such devotees. Not just for you, not to speak of you, it includes us also. Lord Brahma, I are, time factor, because Lord Vishnu would punish us. If we have intention to punish the devotees, in fact, Lord Vishnu would punish us. So we should not approach those devotees. 28. So in this verse, it explains, Emiraj is saying that then who can we bring? Devotees we cannot approach, we cannot of course bring. So who are the people who are eligible for punishment? The indications are given here that, my dear servants, bring to me for the punishment only persons who are averse to the taste of that honey and to the Mukunda, who don't have taste to the lotus feet of Mukunda, who don't associate with the Paramahamsas, and who are very attached to the family life and worldly enjoyment, bring them. Immediately you can bring them without any hesitation, right? So here in the Sanskrit it says, Padaravinda Makaranda Rasad Ajasram. Tan anyadvam asato vimukhan mukunda. For those who are efforts to mukunda, lotus feet, Adaravinda makaranda rasad ajastram, niskanchina paramahamsa kule asanger, who don't take association of paramahamsas, justadgre niraya vartamani Baddha Trishna. For those who are attached to these family affairs, you bring them to me for the punishment. That is, and in the purport, Prabhupada writes elaboratedly about how people are attached to the worldly, especially family affairs, and get entangled in this enjoyment, referring to various Bhagavatam slokas. Going to 29th, and they continue whom to bring to punishment, right? So, my dear servants, bring me those sinful persons who don't use their tongue to chant the holy name and qualities of Krishna. So, their tongue, jihva na vakti bhagavad guna namadheyam. Bhagavad nama guna namadheyam. For those who don't chant the Bhagavan nama and guna, you can bring them to me. And chetaschana smarati tas charanaravindam. In their consciousness, in their mind, they don't remember about the Lord Lotus feet. And Krishnaya no namati yaschira ekadapi. And they don't even bow once, even once, in front of Supreme Lord Krishna. Tan anyadvam asato kruta Vishnu krutyan. For those who don't incline towards activities of Lord Vishnu, you can bring all these category of people. 4 people he said in this verse. For those who don't chant Bhagavan Guna and Nama, for those who don't remember about Krishna's lotus feet, for those who don't even bow down once in front of Krishna, and for those who don't perform any activities to please Krishna. So you can bring them without hesitation, because those are fools and rascals. In the purport of Prabhupada quotes Vishnu Purana sloka, where Varnashtama dharma is Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. So all the activities are in order to please Krishna, and all these prescribed duties are also outlined very, very clearly by Vedas in order to perform duties to Vishnu. Each and every human being is expected to perform the activities in order to please Vishnu. So for those who don't have intention, inclination, or interest, you bring them back to me. Text 30. Now, after explaining Yamaraj to Yamadutas, whom he can bring, whom he must not bring, and the glories of devotees, now Yamaraj is asking forgiveness for the act that his servants has done at the lotus feet of Lord Narayana and his devotee Ajamila. And here 30th verse is saying that my servants have surely committed great offense by arresting great Vaishnava, his Ajamila. Oh Narayana, please forgive us. Because of ignorance only, so we have certainly committed this offense. Therefore, with folded hands, we beg your pardon. Since you are very, very merciful, supremely merciful, and always have good qualities, please pardon us. Even though that is, very great offense, because of your merciful nature and good qualities, please accept our forgiveness. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. In the 8th verse, so in the purport, Prabhupada writes that if you see here, Lord Yamaraja was not directly involved in that incident. Even his servants have committed that offense without having knowledge of whom to bring, whom not to bring, right? Yamaraja has taken full responsibility on behalf of his servants, and he is asking for forgiveness. And here, Nyaya Shastra also, it confirms Brutya aparade swamino danda. So if servant makes a mistake, the master is punishable because he is responsible for the offense. And taking this seriously, Yamaraj, along with servants, prayed to Lord Narayana with folded hands to be excused by Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana. And we see that when four Kumaras, visited Vaikunta and obstructed by Jaya and Vijaya, Dwarapalakas, Lord Vishnu, when he came out after Kumaras cursed Jaya and Vijaya, Lord Vishnu came out along with Lakshmi. Then he took full responsibility. My devotees, my servants must not do that for you. And I'm taking all that, offense, whatever they committed, and I'm begging for your pardon. Lord Vishnu himself says that. So we see that those qualities are exhibited by his pure devotees also, in this case, Yamaraj. And 31, so after Yamaraj, along with the Yamadutas, have asked for forgiveness. Now Sukadeva Goswami is continuing to Parikshit Maharaj that chanting the holy name of the Lord is able to uproot the sinful reactions, the great sins. So therefore, chanting of the Sankirtana movement is the most auspicious activity in the entire universe. And so please take it seriously. Tasmad, therefore, Sankirtanam Vishnur, Jagan Mangalam Amhasam. Jagan Mangalam, this is the most auspicious thing in the entire world. Mahatamapi Kauravya Vidhi Aikantika Nishkrutam. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes that Prabhupada is giving, a kind of warning also for all his followers. He's saying that one should not conclude that one may continue to sin with the intention of chanting Hare Krishna so that we can neutralize the reactions. But one should be very careful to be free from the sins and never thinking of counteracting sinful activities. So it is offense, right? One of the offense out of 10 offenses to the holy name, thinking that by chanting Hare Krishna, I can neutralize my sinful reactions, or because I'm chanting anyway, I will, neutralize even though if I committed any sinful acts. So with that intention, when one does Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it's a great offense. And Prabhupada is giving us that, warning. One should be very, very careful not to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra with that intention or mode. And by chance, devotees accidentally perform some sinful activity, Lord will excuse them. But one should not intentionally perform sinful activities. So, for those who have done sinful activities without any occasionally, unintentionally or accidentally, then Lord will excuse them, but not with the intention. Holy name will protect us. That's not the message from this pastime. So 32nd verse. One who constantly hears and chants the holy name of the Lord and his activities, they can easily attain the platform of pure devotional service. You know that pure devotional service is very, very rare. And even though it is very simple, the rarity, the confidentiality is always preserved, right? But whoever, whatever the background, who constantly hears and chants the holy name of the Lord, then he can easily attain that platform. One can achieve the purification by as byproduct to this devotional service. Whereas on the contrast to that, one cannot achieve such purification just by observing vows and performing Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. Again, Sukadeva Goswami is giving the comparison and contrast between the pure devotional service versus the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. And in the purport, Prabhupada writes that are related to chanting. So, okay, I'm not doing any, one may think that I'm doing offensive chanting only, but isn't it very offensive? Will I be degraded? But Padma Purana says that even though one is doing offensive chanting, don't worry, keep chanting so that you will become perfect and you will do offenseless chanting. And because you have taken the shelter of holy name, so it will give you mercy, and also it will automatically cleanse our heart, right? The dirt that is accumulated in this heart, life after life. So, but do not give up chanting, thinking that I'm doing offensive chanting. No, it will purify our offensive chanting and bring to the platform of offenseless chanting. And here Prabhupada also writes that why these Vedic ritualistic ceremonies, and they just make one to go to the higher planetary system. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Kshine punye matya lokam visanti. So when once a period of enjoyment there, the pious grades are over, they are thrown out of the heaven. I mean, heaven, they're thrown out of that heavenly planets, and they again come back to earth. So it's like a cycle. It's do some pious activities and go to heavenly planets and come back, right? And suffer or enjoy. And it's like travel up and down in the universe. So why to waste our money in such a cycle, right? So it is better to chant the holy name of the Lord, which is the highest, the aim of the life and perfection of the life. And one become completely purified and eligible to return home back to Godhead. So 33rd. And devotees. So devotees, what they do, they always lick the honey from the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So they don't care for the material activities. Whereas for materialists, they don't have attachment to the lotus feet of Krishna. For devotees, they don't have attachment for the material activities because they always lick the honey from lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And here again, the comparison is given with Vedic rituals. However, who are addicted to the Vedic rituals, they have neglected the service of the lotus feet of Lord. That's why they are enchanted by the lusty desires, even though they sometimes perform acts of atonement, but they're not purified. They're incompletely purified and commit sinful activities again and again. That's the purpose, right? Why Parikshit Maharaj also asked the question. It is like elephant bath, right? Kunjara Saucha. He did not accept that atonement process. Those are, related to Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. And then a Gnana solution is proposed by Sukadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. That is also not accepted. Then he has given Bhakti solution, that is a real atonement, which is happily accepted by Parikshit Maharaj. So further, purport in the purport of 33rd, Prabhupada writes that devotee duties to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Sometimes it may be possible with offenses, sometimes without offenses, but seriously adopt this process and achieve perfection. That itself is sufficient, that is highest. And 34, here, after hearing all these instructions from Yamaraj, Yamadutas, they were awestruck, they struck with wonder after hearing the glories of Lord, his name, fame, and attributes. Since then, so as soon as they see a devotee, they fear him and dare not to look at him again. And the Yamadutas are very, very careful, and they are, whereas one is very fearful of Yamadutas, usually, right? But for the Yamadutas, devotee is dangerous. They're very fearful of devotees. And they never approached devotees henceforth. And 35th, so Sukadeva Goswami is concluding this, that he heard this pastime, this great history from Agastya Muni, who is son of Kumbha, and at the place of Malaya Hills. So when he was worshipping Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sukadeva Goswami approached Agastya Muni, and Agastya Muni has explained all this confidential history. So he's giving the reference and who explained him and where. So the details, this concludes this chapter, and of course the history of the entire episode of Ajamila. So it is a great learning as well as many lessons for the devotees, for the practicing devotees. Our holy name is very powerful, merciful, and accessible to all of us. And the message is to give us hope in order to intensely chant the holy name of the Lord, not to wait until the death that Ajamila has chanted Narayana at the time of the death. It's not the message, and it is giving us to hope as well as inspiration by glorifying how potent is the holy name of the Lord, and doing chanting with faith, addressing Lord Narayana only, and practice throughout the life with so much faith in that holy name. So it will manifest. And Sukadeva Goswami also said that for those in the previous chapter, for those who chant holy names with all these things, with faith, addressing Lord Krishna, practicing. So what is the destination that they will attain? I cannot want to speak of their destination. He ended that with his question. So that is the power of holy name, and also the destination that devotees will attain after offenseless chanting. Thank you so much. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the opportunity. If I misspeak anything, please send your comments or questions to Sundarananda Prabhuji or myself, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.